So I've had a few comments on my videos where I've discussed the latest Codename Red leaks, asking me to make a video compiling some of my biggest wishes for the game and what I personally want to see in it. I thought that'd be a fun idea, especially since we still don't know too much about the game and the intricacies of its story, gameplay, or world, so I thought I'd get my wish list out there. These are things I personally would like to see in Codename Red within the context of what we already know about the game. So for example, I'm not going to say, oh, I want one protagonist, or I don't want this to be an RPG game, because we already know that it is those things. So knowing this is a dual protagonist RPG set in feudal Japan, what are the things I would like to see? One of the first big things I really need from this game is for it to be a story about assassins. This is a big deal to me because obviously this game is being made by Ubisoft Quebec, who made Odyssey previously, and Odyssey is not really about assassins or the Assassin's Creed, considering it takes place before Origins. Now yes, there are some elements of Assassin's Creed it focuses on in there for sure, but I want Codename Red to be fully based on the assassins, like Mirage was. Only what's potentially exciting to me about Codename Red is that because it's taking place in the 16th century, the Assassin's Creed has already fully existed for a good 400 plus years at this point. They're no longer the hidden ones, and this is believed to be taking place sometime around the Ezio games, more than likely a little bit later. So to me, this really needs to be a story about assassins and the Creed. Now I know the protagonists Naoi and Yasuke may not start the game as assassins, but I'm very much hoping they become them and we get a full story centered around the Creed in feudal Japan. That is far and away the most important thing to me for this game's narrative, and from what we've heard from the leaks so far, I'm still not 100% sure that will be the case, so I'm still quite nervous about that. Another important wish, and this may actually be the most important part of this game, is having a clear contrast and balance between the two protagonists. A lot of people are very skeptical about having another dual protagonist game, including myself. I don't think it worked very well in Syndicate because there weren't enough gameplay differences between Jacob and Evie, and they didn't even have equal screen or playing time either. And that was made by Quebec, the same studio behind Codename Red. So this is a big area of concern for me. My hope is that Quebec learned from Syndicate and is applying some of that criticism to improve here. From the leaks we've already heard, Naoi and Yasuke will play very differently from each other and have different sets of tools. It sounds promising, but I'm still concerned on how they're going to make this work. My other big question with this is how they're going to balance the playstyles of the two characters. Naoi is supposed to be the stealth archetype like Evie was in Syndicate, while Yasuke is the more combat-oriented one like Jacob. Naoi has stealth-related gadgets, tools, and weapons, while Yasuke's are of course combat-based. So my question is then, for someone who loves to play these games stealthily like me, naturally my playstyle would align more like Naoi's. So am I going to be forced to play in a more combat-oriented approach as Yasuke? Because I imagine in the open world you can choose who to play as, but in specific missions, I'm sure it's mandatory that you play equal amounts of each character. So if I'm a stealth player, and that's what I want to do for a majority of the game, am I gonna have to do stealth with Yasuke, whose entire build is combat-oriented? Will I not get any of the good stealth tools I'd have with Naoi? You understand my confusion? I'm not really sure how they're going to balance that. If it was one protagonist, it wouldn't be an issue, but when you have two characters with different weapons and tools, it kind of feels like when you are that character, you're being limited to a certain playstyle. And of course, it goes vice versa as well. For those who don't care for stealth, are they going to be forced into this kind of stealthily playstyle and build while playing as Naoi? Now, I would think most people who play Assassin's Creed prefer stealth, because that's kind of what this series is all about, but with the RPG games, it's a bit different. They want players to create their own builds and play how they want. I don't know, it just seems very tricky and confusing to figure out, and I'm extremely curious how they're going to go about doing so. My next wish is related to the RPG aspect of the game, because I'd be almost certain this game is going to have choices within the story like Odyssey and Valhalla, so my wish in regards to that would just be that there are plenty of impactful choices with real stakes and consequences. I feel like Odyssey already did a pretty good job of that. Could always be better though, especially giving more choices and possible outcomes in some of these side quest arcs. The Witcher 3 is still my gold standard when it comes to choices in story-driven games, and the amount of consequences and weight they have. Even in side quests unrelated to the main story in that game, some of the choices genuinely feel extremely difficult and impactful, to the point where they actually affect the world around you, and it's tangible. It's probably unrealistic to expect Witcher 3 level choices in Assassin's Creed, but if we can just get half of that quality, I'll be satisfied. While we're on topic though, something very important that I know is at the top of many other people's wish lists is improving the cutscene quality. I made a whole video dedicated to this topic, but cutscenes since Origins have just been on a downward trajectory in the series. And after Mirage, it became a really clear issue that a lot of people have taken notice of. So this is an area Codename Red really needs to step it up, especially with it being a next-gen title and everything. I already stressed the importance of animation and motion capture in that video I made, and it's pretty safe to assume this is going to be a huge RPG, so it's unrealistic to expect motion capture and incredible handcrafted animation on every cutscene in every quest. I'm just hoping we can get to what Origins accomplished, where all the main story cutscenes have motion capture and look great, especially the most important moments, along with a handful of the most important side quest arcs. I do like that Odyssey took the Witcher 3 approach with the side quests, with the dedicated focused in camera angles and everything. That fits a lot better than what they did in Origins and Valhalla for some of the quests, but cutscene quality is a huge need for improvement in this series right now. We shouldn't be able to point to Assassin's Creed games from 9 to 10 years ago and say they have better looking cutscenes. That's just kind of ridiculous. But let's get a little bit more into my hopes for the gameplay. First and foremost, I need functioning stealth. That may seem like a very basic request and wish, but after experiencing Valhalla on launch, I feel the need to express that now with each new game. We need consistent, fair detection systems, hopefully not many bugs. I feel Quebec does a very good job for the most part at giving us polished, not very buggy products. Regardless of how you feel of Syndicate and Odyssey, they weren't broken on launch, unlike some of the games developed by Montreal. All the new stealth additions we've heard in the leaks sound great, being able to prone in tall grass, extinguish light sources, and use darkness to your advantage. That all sounds great, and I hope that's true and executed well. Something I really need in regards to stealth though that was missing in Odyssey are guaranteed instant kill assassinations. Now, whether or not the Hidden Blade is always an instant kill in the game no matter what, or if they have an option to turn that on like Valhalla, either way is fine with me. I just want the Hidden Blade to be the deadly, damaging weapon it should be. And I am assuming the Hidden Blade will be the primary weapon in stealth, considering they showed Naoi with it in the reveal trailer. Some new quick but flashy animations would be nice as well. Another very important element to stealth to me though that was finally brought back in Valhalla, but really was more prevalent in Mirage, is social stealth. I'm really hoping Codename Red builds off of Mirage here and has social stealth in the game. Origins and Odyssey of course didn't have it, and to me there's no reason why it shouldn't be in Codename Red. And hopefully it's designed and utilized in a way so that it's actually useful and encouraged for the player to use, because Valhalla did not do the best job of that, and I'm worried Codename Red could fall victim to the same mistake with it being designed as an RPG. Tools are obviously a very important part of stealth as well. I loved having all the tools back in Mirage, and I'm once again hoping this is something that will for the most part be carried on in Codename Red. In the leaks from the YouTuber Jonathan a few months back, we heard that Naoi will supposedly have kunai, shurikens, smoke bombs, and a bell that can be used as a lure. That all sounds pretty great if it turns out to be accurate, and again, Yasuke will have different tools to suit his playstyle, but we still haven't really heard what those could be yet. Personally, I would really love to see the hidden gun return. I think that would be so sick. It's been a while since we've had guns in Assassin's Creed to begin with, not since Syndicate, and with this being in the 16th century, there should be quite a lot of firearms available, especially with the hidden gun being invented by Altair hundreds of years previously, and Ezio using it in around the same time period as Codename Red is taking place. It would make a lot of sense if the Japanese Brotherhood of that time equipped its assassins with hidden guns. I think it would be so fun to have that return in this game, as we haven't been able to use it since Revelations. Hopefully Ubisoft Quebec has thought of that, but who knows. And while we're on the subject of weapons, I'd like to see some vast weapon variety for this game's combat system. I would expect there would be, since all the RPG games already do a pretty good job at this, but with the setting in Japan, there's the opportunity to have a ton of different unique weapons. Katanas are like one of my favorite weapons to use in all of video games, so hopefully there's a lot of different types we can wield in Codename Red, and hopefully the katanas actually feel powerful and lethal like in Ghost of Tsushima. I'd rather not have too many damage sponge enemies, which I felt was an issue for specific enemy types in Odyssey. And I'm gonna keep begging for it until we finally get it back in the series, but I would love to have Hidden Blade combat make a return. I was hoping for it in Valhalla. You can use it for like a little thrust move, but that's it. It's really not useful at all. It was nothing like the Hidden Blade combat of the older games. I hoped for it in Mirage, but that didn't happen. Please let this finally be the game where Hidden Blade combat makes a return. That hasn't been in the game since AC Rogue from 2014, almost 10 years ago. I'd personally also like to see the double Hidden Blades make a return, but from what I could tell in the reveal trailer, it looks like they only have the one Hidden Blade, so I don't know how likely that is. But regardless, another feature I want to see return that's been missing in the games for a while is double assassinations. Double assassinations, like many other things, have been gone since Syndicate, and I've been wanting them back for quite a while now. We've had chain assassinations, which serve a sort of similar purpose, but it's still not the same, especially when two targets are in close proximity. A double assassination would be much better than a chain. Granted, I thought the chain assassinations were a significant improvement in Mirage over the RPG games. They were a lot quicker, had better range, and you could even chain assassinate with your Hidden Blade, but I still think double assassinations need to make a return. You could have chain and double assassinations in the game, and I think it'd work very well. Even if our characters only have one Hidden Blade, they could still perform them like Arno in Unity. He proved it's possible. To be completely honest, I don't have a lot of hope that we'll see double assassinations return in this game, but this is my wish list, so I'm gonna ask for it anyway. But I think one of the most obvious areas that could do with improvement that a lot of fans would want has to do with parkour. There's a lot they could do to improve parkour, so I'll just say improving parkour as a whole is one of my wishes. More freedom in ejects would be nice, preferably complete freedom like the earliest games. Manual jumping would be cool, but I'm not too sure if they'd bring that back. Improved animations, better parkour design for the open world. Parkour in Mirage I find to be pretty enjoyable, and that's in large part due to Baghdad's world design and the improvements Bordeaux made when it came to animations and ejects. So my hope is Codename Red can carry those improvements forward, and in an ideal world, build on them even more so. It's kind of hard to design a world for parkour when it's so massive and expansive like it is in these RPG games, but they can still have plenty of dense cities with good parkour pathing and helpers, so I'm hoping they can pull that off. If this game comes out and has parkour on the same level as Odyssey, or worse than what Mirage had, it's going to be really disappointing, especially since this is such a constant plea for improvement from a big chunk of the community. As for customization, I have no doubt this game will have a lot of customization options. I just want plenty of assassin outfits and gear, with the hoods and robes. Hopefully they'll do what Mirage did and have different outfit dyes. I actually think the all-black outfit with the mask in the reveal trailer looks really sick. I hope that's an outfit in the game. But yeah, if we're playing as assassins, I want to look like one. That's a very underrated aspect of the assassin fantasy. And please, please let us have our hoods up at all times. I don't want another Valhalla situation where we have to beg the devs for the better part of 2 years to make that a feature they already had in Origins. My next wish and hope for the game, though, is something I want in every RPG game, regardless of what series it is, and that's engaging side content. Have some longer, fleshed out side quest arcs with impactful choices, worthwhile rewards, and fun mission design. With this being a Quebec game, I wouldn't be surprised if there's plenty of comedy sprinkled into a lot of these missions as well. As long as they're fun, worthwhile, and engaging though, that's all I can really ask for. Don't make them feel like filler or a chore to go out of your way to do. And finally, this is a broad request, and I don't really care too much about graphics, but with this being the first true next-gen AC title, I'm hoping there's a significant upgrade in the visuals. This game will be running on a new version of the Anvil engine that will be used for plenty of AC games to come, so I hope it looks good and runs well on consoles and PC. I'm still of the opinion that Assassin's Creed Origins is the best looking game in the series. I've been playing the Curse of the Pharaohs DLC recently, and some of the environments in that are unbelievably stunning. Origins was really ahead of its time with those visuals almost 7 years ago now. And it's not just its environments, it's everything: lighting, detail, cutscenes. Odyssey still looks good for the most part, of course, and so do Valhalla and Mirage, but they still don't really stack up to Origins in my eyes. So hopefully Codename Red can finally be the game that surpasses Origins in visuals. We'll see though. That concludes my personal wish list for Assassin's Creed Codename Red. If anyone from Ubisoft Quebec is watching this, feel free to take some notes.
Write that down, write that down!
Nah, I'm playing. Who knows what they could even change and improve at this stage of the game's development, with it still expected to release later this year. Either way though, I don't expect to see everything I asked for. Again, this is a wish list, but I'm hoping for at least the most important things I asked for. The little stuff like the hidden gun or hidden blade combat are just small things that I would really love to see return. It's not absolutely necessary. But let me know if you guys feel I missed anything and some things you're really wishing to see in Codename Red. At this stage, we're really not too far from an official reveal of the game. Again, I would think we'd get a trailer and title reveal in May or possibly June at the latest, so hopefully a lot of these questions can be answered soon, and the madness that is the build-up to a new AC game will commence. I feel like I'm still recovering from all the madness in the build-up to Mirage's release, and we're already about to do the same thing for another new AC game. It's been a while since we've had major releases in back-to-back years. Reminds me of some crazy times back in the day. But to stay up to date on this game and future Assassin's Creed news, I'd appreciate it if you considered subscribing if you haven't already, and leaving a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Special thank you to my members, and other than that, thanks for hearing out my wish list, everybody, and have a phenomenal rest of your days.